Today's the day that I get to break fast. And I'm really excited. But at the same time, I've enjoyed this experience so much that it comes with a bittersweet. It allowed me to experience myself at a different level. But man, I really know that my body needs nourishment. So Dr. Klapper suggested that before we got together this morning, because he wants to be here at 8 o'clock, here is my broth that I made yesterday. And by the way, you can find what I did in YouTube. And I am going to pour it in a bowl. I don't want to sip anymore. I wanted to keep this nice and warm. I'm not going to sit here and eat for a whole hour, but I wanted you to be a part of my first bite, just you and I. So this is day 6, breaking fast, a 5-day water fast, and I am about to take my first food and what it feels like ever. So the first thing I want to do is I want to bless this food. I want to cry. I can taste every single ingredient. Okay. I'm going to enjoy this by myself, but I wanted to share this moment with you. Dr. Klapper will be joining us later, so I'm looking forward to eating my my delicious watermelon chunks with you. So if you are on day 6, you too can enjoy experiencing this process with myself and Dr. Klapper, and until he arrives in an hour. So it takes about an hour to he said sip it. I don't want to sip anymore. I want to eat. I want to use a spoon. I want to use a fork, a knife, whatever, whenever that happens. Done drinking out of bottles. Number 2, the broth recipe that I gave you, he suggested that I take out the onions. So if you're in the middle of a fast, make sure, I should have said this yesterday. Well, if you, I said that on my post, the writing that I did, that don't put any onions. I happen to love onions. Love onions. I can't eat them like an apple, but I love onions. I put onions in everything, raw and cooked. They both have different micro and macronutrients. So just a little bit about that. If you are making a broth, it's very simple to do. Just put vegetables, all the vegetables that you can find. And by the way, what I do is when I look at my vegetables going a little bit, like they're not going to make it, cut them up, wash them up, cut them up, put them in your freezer. I know they're not brand new and fresh like frozen bags that you get, but at least they don't go to waste. So anyway, that's my 2 cents. I am going to go finish up my beautiful broth. We'll see you soon. Dr. Klapper will be on soon. Okay, so Dr. Klapper just joined me for my breaking fast with my chunky watermelons. Earlier, Dr. Klapper, I went on and I shared my first what it was like to break fast with my broth. And so originally I had a bowl with a spoon, and because I was tired of sipping. I didn't want to sip anymore. And after I remembered, oh my God, I need to swish it. So I transferred it to one of these cups, keeps it insulated. And so I just wanted to share how it's supposed to look, because I did it with a spoon and I'm like, but it's like, tell me if I'm doing it right, or for people in the future, because I did it with a spoon, so there wasn't enough there to swoosh. So
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
All right,
So,
great.
so
Yep.
the purpose of the swooshing is to activate the
Right.
enzymes.
Yeah, also to rinse your mouth and get and bathe the organisms in there with some electrolytes and start restoring things to normal. It's really the way you want to swallow juices, fresh juices, to let that react with your saliva. And but just because you haven't had any real nourishment for 5 days, it's just a way of waking up your mouth microbes a little bit, rather
Yeah.
than just sliding them right to the back of the throat there. Yeah, not essential, but nice touch. But
Yeah.
definitely higher doses. Uh-huh.
Yeah. I mean, normally I would have gulped this down, but I'm full.
Right.
I'm just like,
Yeah. Isn't that
taking
remarkable?
one sip at a time. And I think I'm at maybe 12 ounces at this point.
Perfect.
And like, I'm done. I don't want any more
Hmm.
broth.
Yep. Fair enough.
And do you know
Good
how
to
difficult
know.
it was to cut up that watermelon and not take a
And
bite
not
of it?
eat it.
But you know what? If you were going to make
Yes.
the sacrifice of getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning, I was going to wait.
Well, thank you. Yes, it's 5 o'clock in the morning. You're in California. It's still dark outside. But it's great to be with you. I'm so glad to be joining you at this moment here. So
Yes.
good. I'm glad you got those 12 inches of broth. And as we're sitting there now, the potassium's going through your system. And a lot of folks, if they just do broth for the day, boy, they start feeling really good, fairly quickly.
Yeah.
But we'll see how you do. But you look good. You feeling good? No nausea, no headache. You're feeling pretty good.
Yesterday, I will say it was probably the toughest day of all.
Yeah.
I spent most of my day in bed, with the
Hmm.
exception of some things that I needed to take care of for the radio show slash classroom. There were things that I needed to return emails, and so it was like sitting in my chair where I'm at today, and then sitting from here, going to laying in bed, and it was like I would explain it like when you're like on the last day of like recuperating from the flu or recuperating.
The
It's been
flu,
years since
right?
I've had a I would say a cold, maybe just a day that you're just run down. And I had experienced a lot of queasiness. There were a couple of times where I thought I might throw up, but what kept me from going there, I think, was knowing that I was going to be okay. And I just kept saying to
Yeah.
myself, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Or I would
Very
distract
nice.
myself. And as I would distract myself, it went away. So I've kept everything inside of me. Nothing came out, and I hate throwing up. And I think the my my passion for not throwing up was bigger than the feeling of wanting to throw up. I don't know if that makes sense.
It does. Absolutely. Absolutely. And you're again right where you should be. People, everybody eventually gets to that point where they've used up the reserve and the body says enough here. And it seems that that you're flirting with that point here. And good, we've played it exactly right. I wouldn't want to go any further here. And this feeling that, man, I just want to stay in bed. We call it the dish rag effect. A long fast will turn into a dish rag. It really
Yeah,
depletes you, and people
yeah.
have to play for that. And again, you can't be just incorporating this into your normal day. This is a special time, and but you've done it just magnificently. You've done absolutely everything you needed to do,
Thank you.
and you've earned your watermelons. That's a hard-earned treat at this point. Hmm.
I can see how people can go longer. I didn't have I've been watching this guy. I have to watch his videos. He's on 150 days of a water fast. I need to check that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I gotta check it out. Anyway, I just want to say for the record, I was not hungry once during this entire time.
Isn't that
So
remarkable?
people think that they're going to be hungry,
Right.
and I thought I'd be hungry,
Sure.
but not at all.
It wasn't that big a deal. Uh-huh.
Okay, so here's my bowl. So
Wow.
originally, well, this will probably last me a while, but originally I thought I wanted a bowl with a spoon, and so just in case I want to eat like humans with utensils.
Sure. Uh-huh. Yeah.
But
Uh-huh.
as I'm looking at this, I think I just want to pick it up with my hand. So
Good. Whatever you like.
I gotta
Whatever
get
you
a
like.
smaller chunk
So,
because,
hey, thanks for that's the wonderful sustenance that you have here,
oh
and
yeah,
that you made it through safe and sound. Good for you.
absolutely.
Good.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
Absolutely.
Okay. Mm.
Yeah.
I miss chewing.
Yeah, look at that. Look at that. Sure. All
Oh
these
my
little
gosh.
things we take for
Hold on
granted.
here. I need
And
to take a
yeah,
bigger chunk.
absolutely. Enjoy my child as a thing all you want at this point. Yeah, absolutely. You've earned it.
I never
What we
knew
take.
watermelons were so good.
Isn't it remarkable?
Do you know that before I changed my lifestyle to nutritarian, whole food, plant-based, I could not eat watermelons, cucumbers. I could not eat watermelon, honeydews. Um, which one's the other one? The orangey one. There's watermelons, honeydew.
Muskmelon,
mu-
honeydew, muskmelon. What do they call them?
Anyway,
The
it's a
cantaloupe.
cantaloupe, cantaloupe,
Cantaloupe.
cantaloupe.
Right.
Okay,
Cantaloupe. Cantaloupe.
so
Yes.
cantaloupe. It was kind of like the only one I could eat, but just a little bit of it. But ever
Right.
since I changed like I was raw vegan at first, and then I started eating more, like balancing the cooked, like for raw vegan for 3 years. And then I switched to more, that's when I met Dr. Furman, and I switched more to some cooking, and I will tell you that now I love cucumbers and I love like watermelons. Oh my gosh, this is good. Okay. Now,
You earned it. Yeah.
you didn't get on here to watch me eat, but that was good. How does it feel to you when you put this in your mouth? Now you go what? How many days? 10 days?
7 to 10. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And what does it do
10
to
is
your
long better.
body, Dr. Klapper? Do you lose a lot of weight? Because my husband is very slender.
Yeah, I know.
And
I
he's
lose.
concerned about doing this because I've lost a lot of weight.
Yeah, right. But again, within a week, 10 days, you'll be right back to where you were. And it's just a temporary just dip. And as I said, it's mostly water out of your tissue. Yeah, I get pretty lean too. I'm normally about 182. I drop down into the low 170s as well. But it feels good for a while. It's like, with the auto mechanic, strip down the engine, take down and do the valve job, get it down to the crankcase and then rebuild it, and it's kind of doing that. And it's not that different than when you turn off your computer, especially when the computer gets all loaded up with, it's locked up, there's too many programs open and there's too much in the memory and all that stuff. And it's not working, so you finally, hit the button and you shut it down and, let it wait for a minute or so. Then you boot it up. And now it's in a different configuration, and it's leaner and cleaner, and it works better, and it's shucked all those open programs also. In a way, the fast kind of does that on a metabolic level, and certainly your cells are a lot cleaner than they were, 6 days ago. That's for sure. You've really run a lot of water through your tissues here, and it's a huge question you ask. The truth is there's dozens of PhD theses waiting to be granted in the research that would come on that one question. What happens to you when you fast? No matter what you look at, the endocrinologist would see what happens to your hormone levels. The immunologist would see what happens to your T cells. The cardiologist would see what happens to your cardiac output. The ophthalmologist would see what happens to your visual acuity. It affects everything, of course. And wherever you look, you learn something more. We're just scratching the surface here. It's a very exciting area of scientific endeavor for this ancient phenomenon. But yet, it's clearly done good things for you. Tell your husband not to worry. You'll regain your weight soon. And I don't know if we'll be checking in tomorrow, but today, by this evening, you're going to be feeling very good. And tomorrow, you may feel like you snorted cocaine, or that your energy level might really. I've had some remarkable reports and some effects Doc, I can't believe how good I feel. That I have not felt this good in years. There are tremendous feelings of well-being as your as all the switchboard comes back online there. You can kind of look forward to that. Now, you might make a fool of me and say, "I was all terrible," but I got a feeling that you're going to feel very good tomorrow, and that'll be one of the best days.
Yeah.
So you've done good.
Yeah. Interesting, though. I'm full right now.
Yes.
Normally, I would have had this
Yep.
whole bowl.
Yep.
I could have eaten this whole
Exactly.
bowl by myself,
Yep.
but I feel
Good
full.
for you. Good for
I'm
you.
going to
Listen to
stop.
your body. That's another
Yeah.
lesson. That's so important that you feel that and that you listen to it.
Yeah.
It's very patient watermelon. It'll wait for you. It'll wait all day for you, but it'll wait a few hours and then have another couple of chunks there and just slowly regain your functionality into the world of the eating again.
Yeah.
I'm a pilot. I fly airplanes, and when you're taking an airplane. And when you take an airplane off, as you get to rotation speed, you don't suddenly pull back on the yoke there and point the nose up in the air. You gain altitude gradually. And the same thing with your nutrition, your digestion, your metabolism. Easy does it here. There's no hurry. Right now, in the last hour between the broth and the watermelon chunks, you've got more nutrients flowing through your tissues now than you've had in days.
Yeah.
So let it all start. Let those metabolic gears start working again, and just enjoy and celebrate that you made it through this remarkable passage.
I am in disbelief. I am in disbelief that I did make it through, because, as you know, I made 1 day fast commitment 5 days in a row. That was my whole thing. I didn't want to, because I know me. I know that I'm very goal oriented, and I didn't want to do that to my body. I mean, I can do that for myself if I want to, achieve a goal or whatever, but I do not want to mess with something that I don't know. And I really didn't know how it was going to be. This was my first fast ever, other than a colonoscopy or an endoscopy fast that you do, which is not the same. It's not the same.
Right.
But I would always feel so much better afterwards. And I'd say to my husband, I could probably do this more. Maybe I should do this more. But then I'd go back to eating the same way. So I need to ask you, how often should I eat today, or should I just eat when I'm hungry?
You just eat when you're hungry, just like you did. A couple of watermelon chunks, and then let it sit. See how you feel with that. There's no hurry, there's no rush, but you're just getting those metabolic gears starting to turn again.
Okay.
And so listen to your body.
Okay. So yesterday we talked about how to kind of like do the little airplane increasing in altitude here. So what are other, I mean, I chose watermelon to break my fast, but what are other fruits that would be comparable to breaking a fast?
The physical properties of watermelon, why we choose it, is one is mostly water. It's 98% water, and with just a little bit of fructose and potassium in there. Well, you want to approximate that on the vegetable side, and so classically at True North, we would take some zucchini, cut it up into cubes, into chunks, and throw them in the steamer, and steam them really well. And so boiled zucchini chunks, or well-steamed zucchini chunks, are the vegetable non-sugary equivalent to the watermelon chunks. So you do that. You can take with some folks, especially we had some folks who don't have teeth, so we would take some zucchini and some summer squash and steam them really well, throw them into a blender, and do blended squash blend, and that works very nice as well. And some folks just go to the vegetable soupy brothy soup that you made up yesterday. You showed me a lovely picture of all those wonderful vegetables.
Yes,
right.
But I had onions in there, and you told me not to do onions.
Yeah, right. But that without the onions, you could have easily had a bowl of that, and those the greens that were floating in there are so soggy wet with water. They're very little fiber, equivalent basically to what the watermelon provided. So any of those would have worked, the squash or the soup. But as long as it's water, it's high water content stuff is the key here.
So what about banana or apple
Yeah,
or that
you
too
want
much
to
sugar?
wait. Yeah, and too much fiber right now. We give it a day or so, or two. You could do those, say, at the end of tomorrow, or preferably on the day 3 of your refeed here. Tomorrow, I would just do mostly soups, and soup and watermelon are additive. So I have a bowl of soup, I have a couple of watermelon chunks, some soup, some watermelon chunks. That's how you should get through tomorrow. And then on Tuesday, yeah, you can move into the denser stuff, into bananas and things like that. And by Wednesday, you're pretty much back in the eating world, only because the fast has been relatively short. If you had done a 3-week fast, we'd stay in soup land for a few days there, and we slowly increase the fiber content.
Yeah. So today, all
Yeah,
day long, I can alternate between the broth and
yeah,
the chunks. That's it
right,
today.
exactly. Yep, right,
And then
yeah.
tomorrow, I can alternate between,
Well,
the
the
broth
same, but you can
and the
actually eat the
zucchini.
vegetables.
I
Yes,
can eat
right.
the
Or
vegetables,
yes, you can eat the vegetables in the broth, in the soup that you showed me in
like
the
the
picture there.
carrots and the
Yeah,
cilantro. And,
absolutely.
well, the
Those, they're
cilantro just
all,
blend in, give it flavor, and the celery is to
yeah,
give it flavor. And I was
yeah.
saying that the reason why I make it chunky like that, it's
Uh-huh.
easier to sift out. And if you're
Sure.
pouring, so I wanted people to understand there's a reason to my madness, and not that I'm
Right.
lazy
Yeah.
to cut things up real
Yeah.
small. I was not
Right.
intending to have this as a vegetable soup. If it were a vegetable
Yeah.
soup, then of course things
Right.
would have been cut a little bit different. Now I had and it was the same question I had for you, but I
Uh-huh.
just thought we'd focus a little bit more on this. But I had
Hmm.
a viewer on YouTube say, what if I love onions? What if I love onions and I want onions in my broth? And because
Yeah.
I wrote on there, please do not use
Right.
onions if you're breaking a fast.
Right. Yeah. We've had a couple of folks get nauseated from the onion thing right after 5 days on water. You're in a different state. Your taste buds are different. Your gastric secretions a little different, and gentle, easy. You can throw the onions in the soup for tomorrow or for the next day. This is just that the initial hit of broth. When you start, easy does it. Be really gentle.
You're,
But just so we're all clear here, you started with today is vegetable broth with some watermelon chunks.
mhm.
Tomorrow is vegetable broth, same thing, vegetable broth, watermelon chunk. But you can also by the end of the day, have some of the vegetables that are in the soup there, and then by Tuesday, you can get you're 90% back to you can certainly have solid fruits by the third day, and the regular vegetable soup. And yeah, you can throw some onions in that vegetable soup, by that time. And then by day 4 or 5, then you can get into the quinoa and the denser things at that point. So
Yeah.
we're just gradually increasing the fiber content.
Okay, got it. Now, as far as my activity level, because
Uh-huh,
when
right.
I was surprised that I woke up feeling really well. I was hoping that that would happen, that I would get my
Mm-hmm.
energy back. And I
Mm-hmm.
woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Actually, I went to bed like around 9:30, 10 o'clock. And then I woke up like around, I think it was midnight. And I thought, no, it's too early to wake up. So I went back to bed and I was like, I didn't think I fell asleep very well. And then so at 2 o'clock in the morning, 2:30, I said, I'm getting out of bed. And I sat on my bed on the side, heard Dr. Klapper say, okay, wait for a little bit. And I did, and got up, and I did my meditation. I did my oil pulling. I did all these things, and I thought, okay, maybe I could take a shower. So I took a shower, and I felt really good. I'm like, God, so every time it was like an assessment of the next one, because usually when I get up, go to the bathroom, I'm like, okay, I'm out. I'm going back to bed. But this time was, no, I can do a little bit more. And I can do a little bit more. And it felt really good to do a little bit more. But then after I was done with my shower and I blow dried my hair, I said, okay, I'm going to bed. And I went to bed till like 6:45. I broke my fast at 7, and but I've been full energy. So, but today, should I lie low and just
Yes, I would. be very modest with your activity in that, as I mentioned, this fast has really drained your metabolic tank a bit. You don't have as much glycogen in your muscles. If you were to go out for a good power walk or climb a hill, you might get up 50 yards, 100 yards and say, oh man, my legs feel like lead.
Done. Peace out.
Yeah, right. And yeah, so, you've used up, some reserve. You're replenishing it now with the watermelon and the food you're going to be eating.
Mm-hmm.
But we tell the folks, don't finish a fast and then make an appointment with your trainer for a really vigorous workout. It's not a good idea. So give yourself a couple of days and just start with some longer walks and gradually increase your physical demands on your body, and your body will let you know. But don't be shocked. On these long fasts, these folks who do these 3-4 week fasts or longer, we'd come, I would see them a few months later and they say, Doc, that fast was wonderful. Really helped me overcome my this and that. But I'll tell you, man, it took me 3 months before I got my conditioning back. Well, it really drained my tank. Now, this is a long fast. These are these 5-6 week fasts. Yeah. But it's just an example of that. It draws down on your physical reserve there. So be patient. Don't do anything aerobic till next week.
Okay, that was my next question. How would I be able to do muscle or if I were to go to the gym tomorrow and do a light muscle?
Light, underlying light, and don't be shocked after 3 reps. You say, "Oh man, that's enough."
Yeah, I'm listening to my body. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no hurry here. Try going up and down the steps a couple times, and don't be shocked when you find that you don't have a lot of reserve. But it comes back quickly. But use the rest of this week mostly for just recovery and reequilibration and all that, and save the physical activity till the following week, the vigorous one. But you can go out for some nice walks if the weather is nice, but kind of hold it at that and check out, see what your body has in store for you as far as physical reserve.
Very good. And my last question, Dr. Klapper, is supplements, meds, vitamins. When do you introduce all of those back into your body?
Wait a day or two. Wait till you're eating solid food. You're pretty much back in your normal regimen as far as food goes, and you're eating. With multivitamins, you want to have some solid food in your stomach. You want to have some quinoa or bananas or something. Well, wait till you're in that refeeding stage, like on day 4 or 5 of the refeed. Your body is it's still in this pristine, clean gear here. When you suddenly flood it with these herbs and nutrients, they already have unknown effect. But during this special state that you're in right now, easy does it. Let's hear this. It was all about assuming your natural baseline state. Well, revel in that a little bit before we start flooding it with supplements and nutrients, things like that.
Yeah. We had Raymond Francis. It was interesting that every single person we had in the classroom, every single teacher we had in the classroom last week knew a lot about fasting, water fasting in particular. We had Dr. Neil Barnard. He gave some advice. We had Dr. Lee Cowden. He gave some advice. And then finally we had Raymond Francis. Sorry, I just and he said that he does every year, he does a 10-day fast. Fasting cured his life. He was about to die. And one of the things that he did once they took away all his medication, which right there made him feel better, but once they took away all his medication and he was unable to eat, he did a fast and he started feeling better. And he does once a week, he does a 1-day fast. And then I think it's twice a year, he does a 10-day fast. And he's 82 now. This happened to him when he was 50, but he's now, and he says that when he does these fasts, he goes on light bike rides and he does, and I'm thinking, wow, I guess the body gets used to it, huh?
It can, depends on the individual, but until you're an experienced faster, better be very conservative.
Yeah,
Let
he
you be
is.
very
He is.
fast.
I mean, from
Yeah,
50, he was, no, he was 45, 46 when this happened, and now he's 82. So I would say all these years he's been conditioning for this. But he was
right,
very,
yeah.
he says that he continues to put buffered powder vitamin C in his water because he wants his immune system to be activated. What do you think about that?
Hard to know
Every
what this
person says,
really does. It probably doesn't do any harm, but how much really makes it out of the stomach, what it really does. It might be a reasonable thing to do, but again, you've got to do some pretty sophisticated studies to really answer that question. So,
yeah, and I think I'm excited with you that these studies are now taking place. Fasting's been
yes,
around. I mean, if you read the Bible, it talks about fasting.
it sure
And
does.
one of the quotes that I read the first day of the fast is, when you fast, don't look like you're fasting. Don't look miserable. Don't
Yeah.
because your reward has been here. But the fasting, as I read it this time, and I'm repeating it now, that when you fast and you put oil, and that's one of the things I've been doing. I've been putting lots of coconut oil on my body and my legs. That's been part
Yeah.
of my loving myself process. But
Yeah.
in the scripture that I read, it says that when you do that, your reward is in heaven. And so I thought, this is definitely a spiritual thing.
It
And
is. And, and to build on that a bit, this is a remarkable day for you. This is a day of celebration and for your real accomplishment here. And you are a different person. You will never be the same in your
yes,
own mind and heart in the same way that, it's a rough analogy, but, these folks go on these outward bound adventures and they purposely put you in a situation that's way beyond your safety
yeah.
limits in your own head at least. And they throw a rope across the canyon and they say, you're going to walk across that rope. And you go, no, I'm not. I can't do that. I can't. Yes, you can. And they get you in the harness and they show you how to do it. And you inch across the canyon and you get halfway across and you look down at your own death down there in the rushing water. But there's nothing to do but keep on going. And you keep on walking. And finally, boom, you get to the other side. You are now someone who not only pushed past your fear, but you did this. You saw yourself do it. There's no denying you. Yeah, I can't do it. Yes, you can, and you did it. And you saw yourself do it. And you are a different person. You can't say, I can't do this. I just did it. And I watched myself push past limits that I thought I couldn't do, and I did it. And you're forever changed for that. You now know that you could do that you could do this, and you did it.
I can't.
And absolutely, and that's going to change everything from this point on in your life. This is a true accomplishment, and you should absolutely feel proud and know that you've got this reserve and the strength within you that you can call on and draw on when you need it. And that's one of the best things that comes out of a fast. It's yes, I can do this. I'm a strong person.
I agree. I
I salute.
agree. Thank you. And I
Mm-hmm.
salute you back. It's
Mm-hmm.
this morning as I was getting up from yesterday, what a contrast. I think my cells did their job, because this morning I felt really, really good. And so far I feel really good. I thought, I'm a tough cookie. I'm a tough cookie. I did
Yeah,
pass out
yeah,
once. You know,
absolutely.
I
Yes,
threw
you
up once.
are. You are.
It's like, it's
You
amazing
are.
how you measure success in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
When I was a child, I was told by a teacher that I would never amount to much. And, you take this child as an adult and you think nothing I do is ever good enough, until you go back there and you sit there and you realize, I knew he was trying to motivate me, and I've always known that. But until I went deeper into how those words affected me, like nothing I ever did was good enough. But I've put that child behind. I have nurtured that child. I haven't put it behind me. I've nurtured that child, and I recognize the lie, and I tell myself that I am enough, right? So today, today as I was getting up and getting ready and getting excited to see you and share this moment with you, I thought, not only am I enough, but I am equipped to do whatever it is. God
Yes.
equips us. I wasn't ready for this when I first started the journey, but I was given all the tools through you and through my intuition to be able to listen, to be able to respond, to be able to be gentle, loving, kind to myself. And those are incredible tools that I will always remember. I will always remember at that moment where I think I can't do something like you said, then I will call that a lie. I can call that a lie because I know if I can do a 5-day fast, what else can I do? What else
Yes.
can I do?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And
You got the
everybody
left.
can fill in that blank. And I'm not saying that people that don't try this can't do things.
Mhm.
I'm saying that once you do this and you realize that it's, I don't know if you agree with this, but yes, fasting is physiological. There's things that are happening in your body and it's physical, but the mindset is so important.
Absolutely.
And having a
Absolutely.
support group is important as well.
Yes, absolutely. So there's lots of harvesting of benefits and rewards here, and enjoy each one. They will appear over these next days. Something else for you and your viewers that can also appear, it certainly appears with me, is about day 3 after the fast is ravenous hunger. I get very hungry because my body's built up a deficit, and boy, I'll eat a lot of what's in the fridge by day 3, 4, 5, and for the good week afterwards. One, it's okay if this happens. Just make sure that what you do, make sure it's really clean food. Have that vegetable soup on the stove. Have a big salad in the fridge. Have some mangoes and good fruit around. And if you're really, oh man, I want to eat, great. Just make sure it's really healthy food. Don't get into the chips and the breads, and not you, but your viewers. Don't get into the dense, junky stuff right now. Keep it really fresh, clean stuff, and eventually that phase will pass there. But don't be surprised. Oh, I'm undoing all the things I did. No, you're not. But again, this is these fruits and vegetables. In your raw vegan days, they're mostly water filled with phytonutrients, almost like a juice cleanse afterwards by eating these salads and soups. So as long as you're continuing to run that through the system, one, you won't do any harm, and two, you're going to continue to do really good things for yourself. So just let folks know that they get pretty hungry.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you for letting me know that, because ravenous hunger after I've been not hungry. And
you might notice that.
That is a lesson that I've learned, that the moment I eat, my system activates and goes, okay, we need more. Okay, we need more. Okay, you're hungry now. We need more. So since I've gone 6 days, 5 days plus this morning, all I kept thinking about is, like, this was like the resurrection, Easter Sunday, Christmas morning type of thing. And I thought, no, I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait till the right time. Because I was up at 2 and I thought, could I break fast now? I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to wait. And so I videotaped. And I will say it was a very emotional, to eat my first, to have my first sip of broth, or, with my spoon, which I thought was going to be prudent, but I didn't want to sip anymore. I just wanted to eat, and it was emotional. It was emotional. And I have to sit with what was the emotion underneath it. What caused me to be emotional, and I know that this is really taxing in the body, and I think I met parts of me that I have not seen in a long time. So
good.
So I'm grateful to you, Dr. Klapper. because, and I don't know if you want to be with me on day 7, you're welcome to.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that, whether we should do one more rendezvous tomorrow,
Sure.
just see how you feel.
Okay.
So let's negotiate a time tomorrow, probably a little earlier than usual. Maybe let's see, 8 or 9 my time would be like 10 or 11 your time, somewhere around there. Let's see.
We'll talk about
Text
it.
back and
Yes.
forth. We'll find a time, and but it'll be a little early. I've got out of town guests tomorrow, so
Okay.
we'll do our call earlier, and then
Okay.
it'll
That's good to
the
know.
day.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. But
You bet.
for those of you who are watching, and I didn't realize that this was going to end up getting a lot of feedback on YouTube. People saying thank you for doing this. I can't imagine such a gift that Dr. Klapper is giving me. I want to share it with all of you, and I hope that every day that you get to hear him, you can relate it to your own journey. My journey, it will be different than yours, and somebody else's journey will be different than yours. And
Absolutely.
so take all the information, all the pearls. Again, your day 5 might be phenomenal. My day 5 was a little hard, and but I made it through. I made it through. That was like my little chug, 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 chug. I can do it. Make it through. I
Yes.
can make it through.
Yes.
Like the
Yes,
little
you did.
engine that couldn't, especially
Yes, you did.
a lot of people
Okay.
told me I couldn't do this. And I didn't do
Yep.
it because they told me I couldn't do it. I did it because I wanted to do it.
Yes.
Everything I've done it for a pure purpose. And
Mhm.
I've been wanting to do this for such a long time, and I am so grateful to you, Dr. Klapper, for being the one expert teacher who held my hand through this process to tell me that I was going to be okay and to fast on. And I really do appreciate your words of encouragement. And anyone who wants to learn more about Dr. Klapper, you can go to drklapper.com, and that's doctor spelled out KLAPER.com. And if you have any questions for him, or if you want to do this with him, we talked about that yesterday, that he would assess whether or not you can do this online. And
Right.
I want to encourage you, go to whenyouneedafriend.com. Of course, always become a subscriber. But if you haven't watched any of the other videos, you can just click on my YouTube channel, and they're all there under the fasting journal. But they're all there for you to watch from day 1 to hopefully tomorrow, day 7. And I hope that you will feel empowered. You know what, Dr. Klapper, that analogy of crossing over from the one section to the other on that rope, we've done it in obstacle courses before, and some people are terribly afraid of heights. I would say I'm not afraid of heights. Well, I've never been like crossing a mountain like that, only an obstacle course. I'm not afraid of heights, but what I was afraid of is being hungry. I don't know where
Yes.
that came from.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. It's
I,
primordial. But you
yeah,
looked it in the eye and you did it
I did it.
anyway.
I sound like
Yes.
my 3-year-old grandchildren. I did it, Mimi. I did it. So I said,
Yes,
did
you
it,
did.
Dr. Klapper. I did it.
Absolutely.
Thank
Bravo.
you.
Bravo. I'll
Thank
do a
you.
sitting
Thank you. Thank
ovation
you.
there.
And I know
Okay.
that everybody else,
Okay.
if I can do this, everybody else can do it. So I want to encourage
Indeed.
all of you to give it a try, one day at a time, one day at a time. So unless you have
Indeed.
anything else
Indeed.
to say, Dr. Klapper?
No, nope. Off to my day. You have a good day. The sun is just coming out. The dawn is just breaking.
Oh,
I'm going to go out and feed the birds and greet the sun. So
thank you so
great.
much.
You're so welcome. I will see you tomorrow for day 7.
Thank you so much, Dr. Klapper.
You're so welcome.